Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And a lot of people have asked me lately, Jason, what's going on? Why aren't you hand loading anymore? Why aren't you skilling up your crafting anymore? What's going on? Something's changed. Something big has happened. Something must have occurred. You guys are right. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing. Work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about it. Well, guys, what had happened, and I hate to have to admit this, but pretty much the government decided I was a danger to myself and others, and they came to my home, and they confiscated all of my firearms and all of my hand loading equipment, thus leaving me completely defenseless under the new red flag laws that the Democrats have pushed through. All right, guys, that was my April Fools for the day. I had to debate about that because part of me, I was going to do above the knee rack pulls, but then I realized there would be actual footage of me doing above the knee rack pulls that could then be used against me by people. Or I could joke about becoming a vegan bodybuilder and give a long speech about how the pig is a noble animal and that we shouldn't eat them out of extinction, and how bodybuilding is completely straight, and that I really identify with it, and I want to become aesthetic as AF, and all of that. I thought about all that. All right, I thought about that, but I realized that could all be used against me. So let me just go with something that people already speculate and say that's already absurd and ridiculous, and it's a goofy conspiracy theory. Because again, it's actually been a weird conspiracy theory in my comments. The reality, had I been arrested and been charged with a crime, something that could get my guns confiscated, it would be in the news. You guys wouldn't know about it. I still have all my firearms. In fact, let's go through a few. Got some Glock 21s. Got a Glock 35. Glock 41 Moss. Glock 22. Glock 19. Still got ARs, right? I'm good to go. Still got plenty of reloading equipment, right? It's a hand priming tool. I've got plenty of firearms. I haven't sold any of my firearms off. In fact, I have more now than you guys have even seen. I've purchased a few more in the last 6 months. A few more. So I've got plenty of firearms. No, they're all there. Guys, if anything had happened, you guys would know about it. It would be in the news. It would be publicly available. Believe me, you guys would know. There would be no need for any conspiracy theory. Now, other people are saying, aha, well, maybe YouTube told him he can't do any sort of hand loading artistically in videos anymore. It's not part of their policy. Also, because I'm a verified channel now, I have direct access to support. And I've talked to them about it, and they said, no, there's nothing in there that doesn't violate any rules. In fact, if you guys go look, there are entire channels even though this policy had come out about mass manufacturing ammunition, it doesn't actually apply to hand loading. There are channels on YouTube dedicated completely to the topic of hand loading in extreme detail, where they actually test all of their different hand loads. They go out and take all the ammo that they make on camera with different load data, test the accuracy of it, the velocities, all of that stuff. There are channels that is the entirety of what they discuss. All right? Doesn't violate any of YouTube's rules. Those channels are all still there. I know of at least one that I like. It's a really good channel, has hundreds of videos. They were worried last year when some changes happened that their channel was going to be taken down. It wasn't. They're still there. They're still there. And the fact of the matter is, I don't even currently have any videos up teaching people how to hand load. It's just something I did as an artistic display. It was something I did just for character flair. Well, what I've ultimately concluded when I changed the rooms around, the room I've put my studio in, number one, I'm like, I don't know if I really want gunpowder all in here all over the place in this particular room. Other rooms, I don't care about it as much. This one, maybe a little bit more of a big deal. So I don't necessarily want to do it here. I could, but the other thing I thought of is like, I just really don't feel like doing it on camera anymore. I feel like a lot of people complained it was a distraction, right? People complained it was a distraction, and people completely misunderstood it. There's enough problems in YouTube fitness with me being misunderstood all the time. People don't always get my humor. They don't get my style. They don't get my jokes, and that's okay. That's perfectly normal. But I had a lot of people who literally didn't understand that, to me, hand loading is something I've been doing since I was a small child. It's part of my upbringing. It's something that I find enjoyable, that I find relaxing. And it's something I used to do just to break up the monotony on the camera. It's like I'd said in some other videos, you know, a lot of people said I was like the Bob Ross of YouTube fitness. Whereas in Bob Ross made happy little treats, I made happy little bullets because I found it relaxing. It was something I used to do with my grandfather that I personally found relaxing. Also, I've had a habit of people in the past, some people had taken videos of me, and because I used to pause and stop a lot, just so that I could edit before I used to just do these seamless videos where I just go all the way through, and made my videos really easily editable for me. People had been taking some of those videos and basically chopping and screwing some of them to make me say things that I didn't say. That was historically a problem for me. And again, people putting words in my mouth that weren't there. Now, of course, software's come far enough you can do that anyways. It's not really that hard to do. So people were using that against me, and that's one of the things that I came up with, just that I would keep a flow of and a cadence of doing things that would make it harder for people to do that and chop my videos up and take things out of context. Therefore, people would have to come back and see my originals, and it would be hard for people to do that without people looking at it saying, you know, that's been pretty heavily edited. That doesn't seem to be just one flow. You people have modified that. You've edited that. But people are stupid. They'd fall for that anyways. But the point is, that was part of the strategy I did back then. But at a certain point, I just didn't care anymore. And I've reached a point now, after thousands and thousands of videos, I don't need anything to help me relax in front of the camera. It comes so natural to me to get in front of a camera several times a day. After I have passed the 4,000 video mark, it's just normal for me to just get in front of a camera and talk, and it just really isn't a big deal. And the problem that I had is that a lot of people misconstrue it. They're taking, because a lot of people don't grow up in gun culture, that they think that I'm trying to act tough, or that they thought that I'm trying to put on a macho front in some way by hand loading ammo. Whereas to me, I don't think of hand loading ammo as a macho thing or a tough thing. It's something I did as a small child. If an 8-year-old child can do something successfully, I don't think it's particularly macho or tough, right? I never occurred to me when I started doing it that it could be perceived that way, that some people might find it overly aggressive, something that an 8-year-old child could do, that they might be so pussified that they would actually think that it's intended to be some hyper-masculine activity and overly masculine or compensating for something, because they are themselves big pussies, or they come from a culture and they don't understand that that's something for me and my culture and the way that I grew up, that's just something you do growing up even as a child. It's just an art. It's a practical art form and a valuable skill that I learned during my childhood. And like I said, if you can do something at 8 years old, it probably isn't hyper masculine or acting overly tough. And I didn't perceive it that way. But you have to understand there's a lot of people out there who see firearms that way, as weird as it sounds, who that's their really bizarre, cucked, emasculated perception of firearms. Again, Freud would speak volumes about that. But they have that viewpoint, and I realized at a certain point it just wasn't worth it to me. And even though I kind of enjoy doing it on camera, it really put a lot of people off who didn't understand it. They couldn't get through that I was just doing it for something artistic and something that was just part of my shtick, part of my spiel, part of what I'm doing, and something that I enjoyed and that was relaxing. And then you add in the fact of the distraction of the sound of the machine sometimes in the press, or when I would seat bullets, or sometimes even though I had oiled the levers and everything, it might make a little bit of a screech or something near the microphone, and it would create distraction that was at times unnecessary in the videos, and some people didn't like it. And I just had to think about it and realize it probably isn't worth it to keep doing it. There's no real benefit to me doing that anymore. And as much as it might have been my style, I just lost interest in doing it on camera. It really wasn't anything spectacular. There's no grand conspiracy. I haven't quit hand loading. In fact, I loaded 100 rounds today. Actually loaded 100 rounds today. So it's something I still do all the time, still do regularly, still part of my life. It's just not something I'm doing on camera all the time. So hopefully that explains things. We got a little bit of an April Fool in. We got an explanation for the big conspiracy. And got to joke at some of the theories that people have out there that very obviously can't be true. And thought I would just clear it up so that people understood why I'm not skilling up my crafting anymore. And yes, I've still kept the hat in most of the current events videos just because, again, that's kind of part of my shtick. I put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing. Hey, maybe one day we'll change it to a +5 hat of speechcraft. Or who knows, maybe I'll change it to a +5 hat of autism. I think that would amuse some people. But you know, for now, the hat is staying. I like the hat. I'm going to do it in most of the videos. Occasionally I do one where I don't wear it, because it's just part of the way I've done things for years now. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, or I will talk to you guys next time.